I'll be talking about. I would say it's inevitable for any that data will transform your business, and the best way to exploit it is to embark the, I would say, AI technology. We've been doing that for many years. We're a bit pragmatic about it. AI is a technology, but explosive. Still, I haven't done my presentation with AI as human in the loop. So if you look at that, knowledge is still a key. AI doesn't understand your business yet. So you need also business logic in order to create good use cases and at the same time understand where you'll move your business. Some of my notes says that AI seems to be harrowing to become data-driven. So we've been talking about being data-driven for many, many years. But now you have AI and it has attention of boards. Try to imagine being a CISO, right? Securing your company. It's hard for them even to take a place at C-level at the board because the board would see them or C-level would see them if you have an instance or if you have an incident. Now you have AI being top of mind of the board and you're exposing your company more than ever. Still the CISO would be tagging along because it's not interesting. It's not sexy enough. So for me, I've never tried heroin, but it's injected fuel into your company and you need to act upon that. Another part is time to market, time to value. Insourcing. In Netherlands, you'll see Post Netherlands becoming a tech company. Who would have thought about that 20 years ago? We have been hearing a lot on tech adoption, centralize and decentralize, human in the loops, strategies and budget. I could go on. What we need is, of course, to pay attention on how we move along. So I've taken a base in us as individuals, right? If we look at what we have embraced or adopted in our private life for the last 10 years, without any questions, banking, telco, technology, e-commerce. I can speak from a standpoint in Denmark that any interaction I have in my bank has been digital for the past, I would say, 10 years. I've bought 3 houses and apartments without even meeting in a physical presence with my bank advisor. We've done that online. All taxes in Denmark are filed in a digital format. Anything we do in a public relation to the government and state in Denmark is digitized. So by that, we as a country have embarked, I would say, a pretty heavy digital transformation for the past 10 years. If I take a baseline in what we are struggling with in companies is that sometimes we tend to not pay attention to the customer. I've not heard many mention the customer. I'm waiting for Allianz to give, I would say, less pricey products to the market because they're developing. It becomes cheaper. They're more efficient. So when will this be reflected in the market? Just as in taking a customer point of view, I am investing in your transformation, or will I have a cheaper product? So this is the journey, I would say, any of us have had, right? In Denmark, the driver's license is digital. So you don't have to carry any paper or anything else. It's digitized. Passport will be so soon. This is, for me, the melting pot in how you have to compose your company. You need to have a fine-tuned balance in your customers. At the same time, you're struggling with a lot of transformation and legacies, etc. And the market moves incredibly fast, faster than ever. I would say the future will unfold faster than the past. We have AI, we have technology, we have Microsoft releasing. I would say I'll just take a baseline in Copilot. It's a shit release, being honest. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in Excel. It doesn't work in PowerPoint. Should I take a $30 overhead on my employees for an entire organization if I can't see the output? Should we be the pioneers? Should we go in front? Should we wait? What should we do? So the releases now are, I would say, less mature than ever. So we're actually building that for them based on a feedback loop. Really need to innovate. No one could question that. Improve your operational efficiency. everyone is doing that. And drive down your cost to stay relevant. I can't find any in this room, very sorry, only a few perhaps, that doesn't have a generic product. Logistics is a commodity. Parcels is a commodity. Insurance is a commodity. So in the end, how will your business conquer this in an open free market? If you're unable to explain what your company does within a very short sentence, then you have corporate sickness. You'll be amazed how many employees can't really explain what they do in the company. What is their, I would say, why are they there? What do they do? Which offerings do they have? Which services do they have? It's not that they don't want to. It's just so complex. We made it very complex to run a business. We have to consider how we translate that to ourselves, but also to our customers. As a former, I would say, consultant in DXC technology and Cognizant, I encourage all enterprises to bounce 5% of all their employees on a yearly basis. Just to respawn what they do and to look at, do we need it? Should we do it? What will we suffer if we don't? Bounce them. We'll see an increase that we have seen in Europe for the past many years, that you'll hire higher and higher. In the last 2 years, we have people on the bench because we know they are hard to get, right? We have a war on talent. So we want the talent, but we are not really utilizing it. So I'm not saying that you have to go back and bounce. It's more, I would say, the thinking of how should we challenge our business? And what should we challenge our business with? You want to or you need to optimize the way we service. I would say you could take a very simple approach to any company in the world. Be judged on 3 parameters. How intuitive are we to deal with? How fast do we answer? What is the quality of the answer? So if you take a customer, I would say, view on what we do and what we deliver, that would be what we judge a company on. I'll judge my bank on it. I'll judge my insurance company on the same. Does it take 5 weeks to get an answer? Does it take 5 days? What is the answer? Is it something that I can use? And I'm not talking or referring to a chatbot that routes me into 30 minutes of endless corridors of finding or answering myself what I intended to ask the company for. So in this, we would have a root cause into what we service and what service level we have. At the same time, there's, I would say, the capabilities we have, we just talked about that, they change. Our company has changed. I've done that for 20 years. We have been investing in technology for 20 years and failed. We have underinvested in data for 20 years, and now we're failing big time because now we really need it. So a lot have been addressing the infrastructure and the data quality and what we have in place. If we want to create a magnetic customer experience, we really have to take a close look on how we have composed ourselves and how our company looks into the next 2-3 years of the future. Change is here. You need to be the best, else why are we in business? So even though you're taking a point where it's like, I'll sit, hold, and wait for the market to develop, you still have to be the best. So there's, of course, a lot of potential in data. Everyone talks about data and the potential in it. But how do we apply it? How do we become data-driven? How do we utilize the enormous amounts of data we have because storage has become so cheap that we just tag it along? It's like everyone tagging along a smartphone. And we seamlessly, when we change the smartphone, we dump everything we have into the next one. That's how companies have been building data storage for 20 years. And then sometimes we do a clean, and then the migration is too heavy and too long, and time to value is taking too long time. So we just bulk it and put it in a container, and then we look at it from time to time. So we really need to challenge what we use of data, how we consume it, what we store. The same, standardization and automation. I'm glad that Manny addressed that today as well. We still need to look at the platforms or the infrastructure we built. Is it ready for future? Is it ready for now? What position do we take? We talked a bit, or some did, on AI technology, right? We can build use cases for the next 6 months. But I don't think any in the room can, I would say, think of where we'll be in a year or two. But we know that it will evolve rapidly. Technology does, and in particular AI technologies. We have in DEAS, and I will introduce the company as we go along, been flipping into data as a service. We're in the real estate industry, and we do full service property. We have approximately 50 billion euros under management, so we are a large player in the Nordics. And by looking into our data and talking to our customers, which we didn't do, many of my colleagues have never met a tenant, but we are developing or building products to a tenant that we don't know because we didn't ask them. We thought that we were so brilliant that we would offer products to the market that they would have a demand for, but we forgot to ask them, right? Many does that because we are in the company and we see technology and we see change and we're in the field, so we start to build. Then as we go along, we put some UI, UX on it and try to make it nice, but still, is it relevant? Does it bring our company to the next stage? Does it do something to I would say, make a stickiness to the company we are in, operate from? Data as a service in our company is pivotal. Some of the major investors we have invest billions in the market on a yearly basis. Could be predictive maintenance, could be how much building churns, the benchmark towards other competitors in the market. Are we overpaying for the maintenance or, I would say, property management we have on our portfolio? Can we make it more green and make it profitable? Can we make it more relevant for the tenants? I would say what we have been addressing without saying it today is the big translation, right? How do we translate AI in an organization? Because we are tech or data people or come from the CIO space, etc. And I would be surprised if today's CDO or CIO will be the CEO within the next 5-7 years. All companies are turning into tech, data, and many of the CEOs today have a background in 40 or 30 or 20 years of building companies in the era before AI. So can they comprehend and absorb how the future evolves? So there are some, I would say, challenges we take with the board. We are private equity held, on how we look at the future, how we should compose a C-level, how we should compose the board. Are we well structured? Do we have the right people in the board? Do we have the right people in the C-level? I normally run my presentations through my children. Say, okay, does it make sense? So this one made sense. My youngest is 15 years old. So like, okay, so if you put AI in a company, it's unattended, it's bottom up, and it will die. Like a baby, right? You give birth to a baby, put it on a table, it'll die. So it's also on the backing of your initiatives. This is so strong and so, I would say, powerful, potential powerful. It will evolve. But if it doesn't come back with C-level or management support, it's not been taken serious. So we have a sense of urgency as well that we have to address. It's a hard translation, I would say. Many would also have struggles on who owns it. It's like the internet, right? In your company, who owns the internet? None. So AI is fluid. It will be fluid. And it will become even more fluid. Right now we see struggles in large enterprises on, it's under the CFO, or the CFO is it the CIO, or is the vision from the CEO? How do we orchestrate this? Who is the owner of it? Everyone is the owner of it. If the C-level doesn't own it combined, it'll never fly. So it's become more, I would say, important than ever that the C-level unites and understand how the future looks like. You constantly have to revisit your operating model. Not on a daily basis, but at least on a monthly basis. We've been talking a lot about implementing AI. Perhaps it's time to challenge your operating model with AI. What does the market do that you don't? Have you challenged your operating model with technology? As a hacker would, I would say, attack a bank and show where it's weak in regards of cybersecurity and security in general. So the board and C-level has a certain task here to start looking at the operating model and see how will technology affect or challenge our company. I've taken a few points as for today. Do you have a majority of members or expertise building companies in areas before AI in your board? Most have. You'll be amazed by how many companies in Europe holds boards with a lot of, I would say, history experience, but not being tech and data savvy. And it's the same board taking decisions on big investments in ERP or technology or IT, etc. With heavy data and tech savvy competences, not so much. And then again, what are you transforming towards? Perhaps it's time for us to replace transformation because we'll be transformative forever. I can't see any company being adoptive. Not even Google or OpenAI and others, because it evolves so fast that a transformation is just a part of your business continuity. Or at least then I would like to see when we are at tables later, the harvest you've done on your heavy transformation investments over the past 15 years. Then again, referring to the operating model, is it updated? Is your business unique and without any market competition? And you're safe, if it works. Do you deliver a physical or non-physical service or product? If you do so and it's not unique, your competitors do the same. All talks on adoption, close to none on the outside-in attack on your business. So how do you actually build partnerships or get prone or understand how vulnerable your company is? I would have said, if not today, with post-NL, that company would be obsolete, right? If it didn't change, it would be obsolete. Same in Denmark. PostNord or Post-Denmark was like a heavy letter company, right? And by digitalizing and transforming our country into not having much of that, they would have to reshift and change the operating model. They had all the opportunities, but they did it very late in the market. So DHL and others came into Denmark and are running a big piece of the parcel market, but they have re-engineered and respawned. But elsewise, they would be obsolete, right? And many of our companies, I would say, struggle with the sense of urgency. It's not that AI will kill us tomorrow, but it will over 10 years. And it's not Boeing for anyone. So tech adoption time and data maturity will be your future growth and existence. It's a bit bold, but I would say I have a colleague from Denmark in a bank. So if you look at a bank, it's a generic business. Interest loans in Denmark are the same, right? Because it's kind of national governed. So the product I would have in Jyske Bank would be the same in Deutsche Bank. I would have a saving account. I would have a loan for a car, loan for my house, etc. It's the same product, generic business. So if you're not relevant and you drive down your cost and be aware of your generic, then you'll be under pressure. If I look at some of the core value propositions that will impact and challenge your business and present and future, We have been addressing many of them today. I'll just spin them up. Data-driven decision-making. Analytics and forecasting. Real-time analytics. AI and machine learning. Data governance and compliance. Increase revenue per unit of data. Magnetic customer experience. Efficiency and cost reduction. Business agility. One source of truth. I've never met a company yet that holds one source of truth. Not even startups in fintech or proptech or whatsoever. They have many sources of truth. But we are still, is it a unicorn? Is it something that we can achieve? We don't know. If I was broadening this out for any company, they would, it's kind of decomposing it, right? We have a value proposition. Then I've taken the liberty to talk with Google, Dell, and where I have peers, and say, okay, what is the market value proposition for 95% of all companies in the world? I want to say most of you, hopefully, could dive into some of these and say, okay, makes sense, I could tip that off. We are using it as a heat map, right? We follow the pain, we follow the money. So we follow the pain, normally it ties to the money, if the pain is big enough. By these, we can say, okay, can we do it all? No. But it's kind of a matrix for us. So, okay, we have to invest in data decision-making because we are seeing more and more, I would say, cost-related complaints on our data. And we follow the money in the data trail. That will most likely derive into our platforms, our data quality products, etc. So I use this as a world map for our company. We have been talking a lot about AI first. We run with a bit more pragmatic, digital first. Digital first could be RPA. It could be redrawing a process. It could be redefining your workflow, not necessarily AI first. If we did AI first, we would lose because our company is not mature enough, we are not mature enough, our data is not mature enough. But if you have digital first, we have kind of a pamphlet of different opportunities to look at a business pain. I've built my department as a consulting company, right? It's a SWAT team. So you put them in, define, is it security we're discussing? Is it impacting growth revenue? Is it cost efficiency? Do we want to innovate? Risk regulations. So we go to market in our company with this when we have a problem to say, okay, how do we challenge the problem? Where does it reside? Is it part of an end-to-end? Is it an overheated process, etc.? So from my opinion, it's really, I would say, I've been spending too much time on meetings trying to find the problem instead of being, I would say, more problem solving. I'll bring in a bit of consulting bullshit to the room. White smoke workshops, they work. You put the right people into a room, 4 hours, 9 out of 10 times, they will solve it. They just need the time to dig in, the time to take time from other, I would say, stuff they have to do, because they're the experts, right? Put them in the room, they will solve it. Many, many times you go to invited for 30 minutes, right? And it's 20 people. And they will sit there not saying anything because it's 20 people, right? Manager talks in the beginning, then the second tier manager talks, etc. And then it's another half an hour, and you'll call for 30 people next time. It's time wasting. It's not building good career path. It's bad for retention. It's bad for business. So in this, I would say it worked for us, and done in my entire career, white smoke workshops, like the new Pope. Put them in, they'll solve it. Many, many times, if they can't, then you know your escalation rule. So, okay, we have an unfixable problem in our business. How do we address this? And then we will move it up the ladder quick, right? Because now we have 20 people looking into something, or 10. They've defined it's unsolvable unless we do. Then the case for the management board, the C-level or board would be completely different. Because you have already asked your expert. They're given their advice, they've filed a report, now you're ready. Maximizing AI success. agile development, right? It's kind of shitty, but I had to put it in because we try to, it's really hard. But optimizing limited resources. When I talk to a lot of companies, it's like, where should we start? Should we hire people? Should we use some of the new ones fresh out of university, right? Because they know ChatGPT a lot. Should they run it? I've seen big lawyer companies or firms in Denmark taking that approach. Like the new fresh one in because they know it, and then you'll start. So start small and capitalize on existing team strength. And we had from Allianz, what are the gaps? Also in your resource mix. Plan for resource expansion as demand for AI services grows. Prove your case, build, or say, okay, to the board, we'll have to hire. We have a big knowledge gap. So do you want to wait for the case, or do you want to invest for us to utilize the case? So it's very much as on the C-level slide earlier, CAPEX and OPEX. Where's the ROI? We don't know, but we know we have a knowledge gap. So how will you close it? Wait for the market, invest, sit it out. You'll have to take a decision. Again, addressing this to the C-level and to the board. Agile development approach, run fast, fail fast. Kind of consulting again. Think it as big as possible. Start small, scale fast. If it's not scalable, it will not work. Prioritize experimentation. You'll see a lot of, I hired a data scientist, among others, a year and a half ago. And it was really important for her to be a data scientist. 2 months ago, she asked me, could I be a project AI manager? That's how fast it moves, right? So data science is becoming the more, I would say, deep. And the project, or the AI product manager is more towards the business and solving business problems and not going deep in the data. So we see a transformation of the workforce as we speak. If you mean it, hire experts, please. We have seen it for many, many years. Trying to reskill. I like reskilling if it's feasible. But when time or when the market moves fast, it's really, really tough to reskill and at the same time absorb the development or the speed and technology. And sometimes we do it because we are humans, right? Because we want them to do something else and we like them in the company. But then we are missing out on why we are transforming. Because when you transform, you put something in and something else will come out. But on employees, I'm not saying you have to lay off and fire, but we have to really consider and build a stronghold if you want to reskill and upskill. Upskill is easier than reskilling. Strategic partnerships. In the past year and a half, I've been working with a lot of consulting companies, and they're struggling the same as we do. They're struggling in the sense that they don't know more than we do because the tech releases are out in the market at the exact same time. So when I have a question on Copilot, they haven't educated themselves for what I'm paying for. So I'm asking them something where the question of feedback takes too long time. So by that, we have bypassed all consultancy companies and work directly with Microsoft. We are a Microsoft first company. So we have a hotline to the engineering team. It took us too much money and too long time to get answers on RAC, for example. And by that, it was slowing down our development, and we were heavily relying on consultants. I'm not saying that we shouldn't hire them because I think we have to, but we have to address where and when and what we intend to use them for. Tap into research as a solution accelerators, POC, fundings, etc. It really takes some translation from senior management to a C-level or a board to make them understand what journey we're on. And not from a tech kind of view, but more on how will it impact our business. Build true strategic partnerships. I've not seen many of those, where both companies really put their hands on the plate and invest. I've seen many, many partnerships, announced partnerships, but deep, true partnerships will say, okay, we are fucked, you are fucked, we'll find out together. Much will say, yeah, we know it, then they'll go back, they'll try to build some knowledge, they'll go back and say, yeah, we are all clear. They're not. So in this, true strategic partnerships is also for consulting companies calling the shots and say, let's wait a month. We'll have to study this more before we can advise you. I'm not blaming any consultancy companies. I like them, but it's more a fact on how the market has been developing for the past month or years. I have a few key takeaways. Get started now. Every day counts in the era of data and AI. Decide on your strategy. Mine is, because we are generic, we are very generic. So operational efficiency and quality. If we don't have that, our competitors and I would say the pricing to manage an apartment in Denmark is ridiculously low. It's less than you pay a lawyer per hour. That's what we get a year. So it's a very generic commodity business. So if we doesn't strengthen our operational efficiency and quality, drive down the cost, we'll be on a heavy, heavy pressure. Be pragmatic and take the baseline in AI and well-known tech methodologies. It's a technology, explosive technology, but still a technology. So whatever governance you have had in place before by adopting new technologies, I would say to an 80-90% degree you can use the same. Be aware, moves fast, and infrastructure will be your major challenge. You'll not succeed unless you focus on change and adoption. So we really have to change fast. I've taken the liberty just to take Gordon Gekko, Michael Douglas, from an old, some in here can relate to the movie, others can't. But he said like a famous sentence in a Wall Street movie that money never sleeps. It's a fact that business never sleeps. And we have known that for many years, but now it's time to wake the beast and get a really solid understanding of where you are in the market, what position you will take. It's no longer when you should adopt, but what you should adopt. This is, I would say, the approach I have to our private equity, recently sold. So DEAS was for sale since 2015, 3 times. I was hired by the CEO, among others, 2.5 years ago, to increase the, I would say, presence of full-service property provider in the market, but also going from, I would say, business analysis towards DEAS and become more data-driven. So we, as a strong team, accomplished that, was sold. This close will be in this month. But this is, for me, also a testimonial on bringing in, not only me, because I didn't do it, but bringing in people who really have a passion and understanding and can translate, and also understand what industry or business they are in. So many of my colleagues on the group vice president level are, of course, everyone are passionate about what they do, but we actually care. We care to go to work, we care to improve, we care to, I would say, change the business and improve it, right? So, yeah, a few tokens for me on C-level and how board could or should, perhaps I would say should, be composed as we go along.